Hey YouTube, in the previous video you saw me make these engine plate stands which are going to be placed towards the rear of the deck and towards the front of the deck. Originally when I did these holes in a previous video, I was going to place the mounts here, but to try to avoid getting them too tangled up in the belts and all that sort of stuff, I've decided to move them out to the front, which means that I'm going to have to turn the plate around and redo it. Now, there is a consideration I need here. These are all fixed pulleys, or they're fixed. This one has to be movable in order to put tension on the belt. And that, of course, is going to dictate where this last mount is placed. So what I need to do first is get a rough idea where this is going to go in relation to the plate, drill a hole for it, and then mount the motor. That's how it's going to sit on there. So I'll drill a hole through here, the motor will sit here, front of the engine coming up to the front here. Now another reason why I changed it is because the heat off the bore would go down onto the bearings and to the pulleys and the belt, and I thought by possibly extending the plate further out I can possibly put something under here to stop the heat transferring into those items. At the back here, what I'll be doing is creating a frame, probably something like this, where I'll create a frame across here, and then the alternator is going to sit on there and slide backwards and forwards. Obviously it's going to need to be much higher. These are just some scrap pieces that I had left over from another job. So let's get into it. Okay, so we did a quick measure from the centre of the engine to the front of the cylinder, and it's 300 millimeters, which brings me to about here. Now it doesn't matter if I've got a little bit of overhang here, as long as the plate is covering the majority of it, all should be good. So what I am attempting to do now is keep these mounts as close as possible. I don't have to worry about the belt around the front because the belt's coming around the back on both sides, so I can have them reasonably close. And then I need to work out a measurement from the centre line of my top holes back to the centre of where I want that to be. Now I did a quick measure and I figured somewhere around probably 220 millimeters is probably about where I want it to be, because the other consideration is I need this pulley to be a certain amount forward in order to give me the best belt contact around here on both sides. So as much as I would love to have it this way to get the weight forward, I need to have it back a certain amount. So I need probably somewhere around about probably 220, 230 millimeters, somewhere around there. Yes, maybe about 220 to 225 would be great. So what I'll do is I will mark up the plate, put a line across, work back where I need to be for the centre of this shaft. Now the other consideration as well is that this pulley here, you probably can't see it even if I did take the pulley off, but underneath it has some pieces of metal that curve around here, which means the placement of these holes is a little bit on the tricky side. So I had to put the pulley where I could fit the hole without it interfering with the metal underneath. So what I'm thinking about doing is transferring this pulley, and maybe more, to the underside of the plate, so that way the motor pulley and where the idler pulley are sat in relation to each other, they're not going to move. Now the rubber mount vibrations mounts may move a little bit, not that they're going to move a massive amount, but if both of these are on the plate, they're basically locked together in terms of movement. So I'm thinking at the very least this will be going to the bottom of the plate, which will then allow me to centralise this pulley, which I can't do if I use it on the deck. So let's start some measuring.